And bring the mind to the breath. Again, keep lengthening and then just relax everything. It's a sort of a combination of being alert, being relaxed, so you're not having any particular sort of unnecessary tension in the muscles, the face, back of the head and the jaw and the tongue and the shoulders, the neck, the throat and the body, the limbs. And really remember to breathe. I know when I'm at the computer, very often when I'm doing things, I'm just somehow realize, oh, I'm holding my breath here. So just keep breathing. And then just notice the breath as it's flowing in and out of the nostrils. And check if there are any sounds in your environment, just allow them to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then just notice what's arising in the mind. And again, as I said earlier, have you been engaged in stories today? And did the stories change? Sometimes we make up stories about things that we don't really know. It's almost like the mind wants to know. So it just creates something. So it's very good to give ourselves a reality check every now and then, particularly when we're heading off into the land of delusion that is creating anxiety or fear or anger or whatever kind of emotions are arising. And it's good to give ourselves a little bit of a check. It's just like, is this real? And then also just check if someone's telling you something you're feeling isn't real. Don't necessarily believe them. It might be real for you. It's always good to check to know where we are at, no matter what's going on externally. So any thoughts that are arising, you can allow them to arise, just observe them objectively and allow them to float away. Trying not to grab them or create stories, judge them, criticize them. And then we just put ourselves on the bank of our river and just watch it flow on by. Just notice the quality of the water. Is it clear? Is it calm? Is it full of rubbish? Is it muddy? Regardless, just know that while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from that river. And then bring to mind all the people of your life. We have some very dear ones in our life, ones we love. Some of our loved ones we have a little bit complicated relationships with. And then there's those folks in our life who are just create so much aversion in the mind. We have to be kind of careful. And then there's our strangers. And it's always good to remember that things can change in a moment. Situations arise. Something you thought might be impossible all of a sudden becomes possible just because something else changed. It's like that with our relationships as well. They can change places, these groups of people. Regardless of that, they're all equal in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for an enlightened mind. So then we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life and for ourselves as we're moving along our path. So remembering there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. And we create negativity with our mind. That's where it starts. And we can change that by creating positivity instead. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. So we don't want any more suffering. We know presently from our present suffering, we don't want it. So logically, it makes sense to remove those karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. We turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can purify. We can use these methods to purify ourselves. We can heal ourselves. So here we have our beautiful Vajrasattva. So imagine something similar to this above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is your teacher. If you have a teacher, your spiritual guide, trusted mentor, manifesting in this form for your benefit. He's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has this beautiful radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for all those people of our life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart. The left is underneath the right. The left is holding a bell, representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents a union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So this is why it's under the section of reliance. So think of someone you've harmed recently, in the past, and then think of all beings we have ever harmed since beginning this time. These are ones we don't remember. And then think of those who've harmed you. And particularly we have compassion for them because the harm they've caused will create suffering for them. And it'll kind of ripen or manifest at some time in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and think I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around, enters your crown, and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sutame sitam shriyam karuhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata kata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sutam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajra Sapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sapa Dina Patita Tita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sutam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with the body. So the moment anyone sees you, hears you, feels you, it benefits their mind. So next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, just all our uncontrolled speech, all this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dino Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Hanarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dino Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy. Your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And the next is the purification of your mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you just flick on the switch. And what happens? Instant light. You can see everything. But it lights up the room. So the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, attachment, depression, greed, neediness, jealousy, bitterness, grudges, all of this instantly dispelled. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted. All of our delusions. And this is the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech. Just imagine these are completely gone. And now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Hanarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now here we are again at this power of resolve. So don't forget to rejoice in your efforts, coming every night for so many months, for some it's years now. Amazing. So really take heart in your dedication to yourself, to your own practice, and to all the other people here. And then think of something you'd like to work on. Maybe you want to dive deeper a little bit into something you already have been working on, and give yourself a reasonable timeline. So just while we meditate for a minute or so, just think of what it would look like if you were free from this thing that you're working on right now. How would your life be? So if there are more than one thing that we've been working on, you can just make a vow to try and avoid doing those things, speaking those things, maybe thinking those things. So this determination, this decision we make to not do again, is how it all changes. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with you, wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And just think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And it's just a little bit on emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I. There is no creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. There is no negative karma created. So just kind of place your mind in this kind of space for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They don't exist from their own side. We can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. Let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created by doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And if you do have any teachers in your life, just make a strong prayer here. Dedicate the practice for this evening to their long lives. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's, and any other teachers you have. Just wish for them to live long. Okay, everybody, much love. I think we'll do Chin Raisig tomorrow morning. I'd love to do that. And I found the photograph that I took up at Swayambhu, so I'll show you that tomorrow. Okay, everybody, lots of love. Good night. Thank you for hosting, Michael, Shayla, Mary, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning, some of you. Okay, lots of love. Thank you. Bye. Sleep well.
Venerable.
My pleasure.